Hello there guys, it's me, Unstable Voltage. Welcome back to part 2 of Little Big Workshop, where we're basically continuing straight on from the previous video. We are currently working on creating some of these shelves. There is again a very real danger in a game like this, like any sort of build a game or sim game, where you can expand too fast, you can get too ambitious. In my first playthrough, there were many times where I was buying really expensive machinery to complete one-off projects, and it just wasn't worthwhile at the end of the day. Down here at the bottom of the screen, we've got these notifications that show us when we've got idle operators or idle machines, basically someone with nothing to do. We'll follow people around. How do I stop following you around? Please stop. I don't want to follow you anymore. Stop. Okay, camera might have glitched out slightly there. How do I stop the camera from following you? Because I really don't want it to anymore. Ah, stop. You can see all of our workers here. You can actually click on workers and follow them around this way. Not sure how we stop following workers around. I think I've broken the game. What about if I go into a menu? Nope. It's just going to continually follow somebody around. Wow, that's weird. I hadn't encountered that issue before. Okay then, fine. Looks like we're following this person around till the end of time. So we're going to keep going ahead and making these shelves. Again, remember we did put batch mode on, so we're going to put them together in fives. So you can see that this workbench is now taking damage again. So we could go ahead and click on it and tell them to repair. Now, if you hold down Control, it'll actually show you all of your equipment and what condition it's in. So green is good, and then it goes through yellow down to red, and while holding Control, if I left click, it'll turn blue, which means that somebody has been assigned to basically come and fix it, which is good. No longer have free camera movement, which is a little bit weird. It still seems to be locked to my view there. That is interesting. I wonder if that's a bug. In all of the hours that I played this previously, I've not encountered this issue before, so that is a little bit weird. So yeah, don't click on things to follow them around with the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quickly save here, because I haven't done that yet anyway. So let's save and reload. And there we go, that's working properly now. So you can also hire haulers. Haulers are very specific workers. They're a little bit cheaper because they don't actually work on anything. They literally just move stuff around. You don't need them initially because your normal workers will move stuff around anyway, your operators. But let's speed things up. Obviously things have slowed down right now because we're waiting for these work tables to be free. And we're still collecting the parts. So as you can see, the shelves take quite a long time because there's multiple different steps in them. But I mean, look at this, like bending a piece of wood, 25% efficiency on these workbenches. As soon as you can get a custom bending machine, it just makes it so much faster. When you can get table saws and band saws that can do straight cuts at 100% efficiency or curved cuts at 100% efficiency, you basically speed everything up. Now that icon that just briefly appeared for a moment there, this one here, there's a problem with the queue in the workstation. What that usually means is there's some sort of bottleneck. They're trying to build something that they don't have the parts for, or there's something queued up that can't be completed because something else needs to be done beforehand. But having them linked to billboards usually sorts that problem out automatically anyway. There's an obstruction thing here that allows us to see where people will move more slowly. So all of these red areas is where people are going to walk very slowly. We can also see people's moods in various different rooms. So this is noise -20 and comfort is only +8, so the mood is -12. The mood actually affects your how quickly you get tired. So that's why it's usually a good idea to have these decorations and things in rooms because they kind of offset that. We can see rankings here, so there's all of these different sort of AI factories. We are down there at number 21 currently, so we can keep our eye on that. And this is the truck arriving with the palm tree, so we now put that together, and if we look at this lens, we can now see that the mood is +2, so there is positivity in this room for the time being. But again, these things take up a lot of space. We can see the repair lens. Again, it's the same as basically just holding down control. We can turn both of those off. And workstation priority lens. So what you can do on certain workstations is you can increase their priority so that whatever they're working on will be done first. But there's no need for us to mess around with that at the moment. And we'll just speed things up now and try and get these shelves done. Now, it is possible to work on multiple projects at the same time. We do actually have a challenge here at the moment for a shelf. Let's go ahead and create a plan. This is going to be pretty similar to the shelves that we're working on currently. So we have, again, a couple of different options for the brackets. Now, this one actually, this icon here, I know from experience, requires a forge. We could build a forge, but I'm not going to. We'll go ahead and use this shelf support. And again, this is the same thing here. See, this one would require curved metal rods. And we don't have the... That would require a forge anyway. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and change this for something else. Now, ideally, I'd like to use one of the wooden ones, but neither of these are suitable because the strength is too low. However, we can sometimes get away with that by choosing a better material for another part of the shelf. So if I go ahead and choose the stronger wood here, then, yeah, in this instance, it's still not going to work out for me. So we'll go ahead for the cheaper wood. And let's go ahead and see if we can get a forge and do these ones. This one just literally requires forging. So if we can get the forge, that will be fine. We'll just use the normal cheap metal here. And obviously... that needs assembly. So we don't have the mold. We're going to buy the machine. We do have the ability to buy a small forge. We're going to go and pop that in this room. And we'll get that ordered. Now that that's ordered, we can go back to this plan. We'll link the forge to this because what else is there to do? The soaring part we'll link to the billboard. And the assembly part we will also link to this billboard. The amount that he requires is set because it's a contract, so we'll hit execute. Now, what we can do here, because there's a time limit on this one, is go ahead and bump this to the top of the queue. We will need the forge before we can do anything, because we're going to need to start working on those brackets. So now we're actually just forging these. Does it call this? Yes, a small forge. So we're just making metal brackets right now. And a forge is used quite a lot, so it's definitely worth... you can change the amount of workers that should work in your loading bays by right-clicking on the loading bay. I'd missed that in a previous tutorial. So you can actually assign how many workers will work in the bay, and you can also choose whether loading bays are input, output, or both ways. Obviously, we've only got the one loading bay, so it has to be goods inwards and goods outwards. Now, we do have 14 shelves to make for this particular contract, but because the brackets are a single piece made by forging, it actually works out a lot quicker than the wooden ones, which require various different steps. And this woodworking takes a long time. Also, you'll notice, should say what the efficiency is. Molding in the small forge is 100% efficiency. So it's a very, very fast way of doing something compared to making these wooden brackets here. I mean, this wooden bracket is a, what, 3-step process. It's cut the raw wood down into planks is step 1. Then bend the plank into a curved bit is step 2. Then glue the curved bits together to make the bracket is step 3. This is literally 1 step. And it's 4 times faster because it's 100% efficiency rather than 25. So we can basically make... we can make 12 metal brackets for every 1 wooden bracket. So these should be a lot faster. So we're not going to run out of time here. So we've executed a plan with a build board linked to it, which is great. We could, if we wanted to, go into the market and work on some other stuff as well, but it's never a good idea to have too many projects going. It's always a good idea to try and make sure that you have all of your machinery going. If you've got staff that are standing around doing nothing, or you've got equipment that is just sitting there not being used, then it's kind of a waste. So obviously we've got the forge, which we're using to make the metal brackets for these shelves. If we didn't want to let that forge go to waste, what we could do is something like these shovels. So these shovels are nice and easy. They do require well, these are all metal actually, metal handle. We could do wood, but then the problem with the wooden one is it doesn't have enough strength. And then we'd have to chop the wood and we'd have to lathe the wood anyway. So we're going to go in and use the metal ones, and basically they're you know, they're going to be forged, the whole thing. So we'll select both of those processes and assign that to the forge. We've only got one, so don't really need a billboard, and we'll assign the assembly to the billboard over there. So with that done, we want to choose how many we want to make. So let's say we want to do 10. Again, we'll do them in... We don't want to do them in batches. There's a reason for that. Let's do 10. So when you are using the forge has to be reconfigured between each different product that the forge makes, or each different part that the forge makes. And the reason for that is because, just like a real forge, it has a mold. And if you want to make a different shaped part, you have to put a different mold in. And this is what this guy is doing currently. He's changing the mold. If we did this in batches, he'd have to put in the mold to make the handles. Then after 5, he'd have to change the mold to make the shovel heads. Then he'd have to change the mold back to make the other 5 handles, and then change the mold again to make the other 5 shovel heads. By doing runs of 10, we'll only have to change the mold once. Still looks like we've got some problems going on here with the production queue. I'm going to go ahead and have a look at this manually and see what is going on. Sometimes it's worth moving some of these things down. There shouldn't be a problem actually, because you should be just concentrating on these large shelf supports. I think it's just that the materials haven't arrived yet. I think once these materials arrive, it will be fine. I'm going to go ahead and speed things up. The shelves are getting put together. It looks like it's this one that's got the problem here. Going through the billboard doesn't always make sense as to what's going on. But the large shelves should be prioritized. We can go ahead and unlink stuff from the billboard, but I think it'll be fine. We've got 1 day and 10 hours. We're already more than halfway there. So I've got no problem with this at all. So as you can see, the shovel heads are already done. And we're now working on the actual the shovel handles. Oh, this thing's about to blow up. I'm not sure we'll get to repair that in time. It might... Yeah, he's actually working on it. That's going to blow. I wasn't keeping my eye on that. It's actually on fire. I don't know how a workbench becomes on fire and has sparks coming out of it, but apparently this one does. So someone should hopefully go and repair that before it explodes. Right, you are repairing it. Good. Put that fire out. So we're still... Oh, those shelves are actually done, so let's get them delivered. There we go. That's a nice bit of money and some experience. And we could go ahead and prioritize these shovels if we want. The problem we've got is the assemblies all going into these other shelves. So let's go ahead and prioritize the shovels, because they're all basically done right now, apart from the assembly. And if we look at the market and we look at these shovels, we can see the price has stayed fairly stable. There is still some demand for them. So let's go back in, and using the same plan, we'll go ahead and we'll make another 10. Might as well make them as quickly as we can. So here's some more raw materials coming in. We're making some more shovel heads. Looks like someone was on fire there. So what we can do, we've done 10 of the shelves. We could go ahead and just deliver them. The price, it looks like it's starting to drop. So we're going to go ahead and deliver those shelves right away. Especially as the market prices update every 2 days, and there's now only 1 hour left. So it's quite possible that in an hour's time, the value of these shelves is going to drop. So we'll wait for the market to reset. There we go, the market's now updated. So if we look at the price of these shelves, yeah, the price has actually fallen. You'll also notice the backgrounds on these icons. Some of them will be green. It's hard to tell, really. It's a very subtle color difference, but the ones that have a green background means you've already got a plan for them. But yeah, the value of this one is dropping. Value of the shovels is dropping also. This is a new item, so we don't really have any price history on it yet. We do have another challenge. This challenge is actually to make shovels as well, and this one is to make shovels with wooden handles, with the look of things. Yeah, because it doesn't need the same durability. Now, the issue we've got here is if we do this, we still have to do this simple lathing. So we could, if we wanted to, just go in and make metal handles. I think that's actually never before had it where there's too much style. Is there anything we could change to make this cheaper? I don't think there's going to be. So yeah, we are going to have to, unfortunately, do it with the wooden handles, which are going to be a longer process. So we'll pick the materials, we'll go ahead, we'll select the wood cutting and assign that to the billboard, we'll assign the lathing to the billboard. Obviously the forging is going to go here, and the assembly is going to go to this billboard. Now this is a job for a client, so we're going to bump that up to the top. We will go ahead and sell the shovels that we've already done because the price is starting to drop. Now, sometimes you see some extra icons on the board here, and when you they're purple usually, and that means somebody's manipulating prices. Another competitor is manipulating prices. I'm not sure how they do it, and I'm not sure if you are able to do it as a player. I haven't seen it if that's a thing. So our workers are starting to get these XP points, which allow them to specialize. Although in order to specialize, you have to have unlocked the particular tech. So we've got 4 tech points here. We can actually unlock wood production specialization. Storage management we don't really need right now. Construction tools lets us build more buildings. That's a really useful one to have. So we're going to pick both of those up. The phone is ringing again, and this is a new client. Let's get some details from this guy. So this guy wants us to build a shelf. Now, as you can see, this shelf is quite a bit more complicated. Parts-wise, it's fairly straightforward, but we've got a lot of processes here that we need to do. And we all know that these shelves take a long time. We've got a double straight cut here. Double straight cut takes forever, but let's go ahead and assign that to the billboard. We've got a wood bend, which also takes forever, and then we've got 2 parts of assembly. But we'll see what we can do. We'll execute that. We will move that to the top of the queue, and then we'll put that shovel back to the top. Unfortunately, you can't just pick these up and drag and drop. I think it'd be a lot easier if you could. Because you can't send things to the bottom of the queue. You can't tell things to move up or down in the queue. All you can do is send them to the top. So that's a little bit annoying. What we can do, though, with our experienced staff member is we can go ahead and... Oh, no, let me do it. We need to hit wood production 2 in research. What did I just unlock then? Oh, basic woodworking machines. Okay. Well, that's not a bad thing either. So we've unlocked some better woodworking machines here, and these are going to be fantastic for us. A bending machine is something that we definitely want. This thing is going to be so useful for us in being able to speed up our production. Let's go ahead and put that bending machine right there. We're also going to go ahead and get ourselves a circle saw, which we can fit in over here. I would like a lathe as well. And we'll go ahead and get that stuff ordered. It's telling us a little bit about billboards, which we don't really need to know too much. But what we can do on these small shelves here, if I go to the project overview, I should be able to see the plan for this. We want the part where it's getting bent, which is this part. Yeah, these ones. So what we want is this bending bit moved to the bending machine. That will be significantly faster. Unfortunately, we don't have a lathe to do the round parts. That would be a lot faster. And anything where we need to do cutting, like this, we can assign this to that. And that will speed things up dramatically. So now we've got a bending machine. It's probably worthwhile getting another member of staff as well. So we'll recruit somebody else. And we can see our client relations, because now we've got ourselves a new client. So you are, yeah, working around the round rods. So there we go. Now working on the table saw. So while the workbench, the wooden workstation, has 25% efficiency at straight cuts, the circle saw has 100% efficiency at straight cuts. The downside is it only does straight cuts. That's the only thing this one piece of machinery does. It's very, very specific. If we want to do curve cuts, we need a stick saw, although there is a band saw which will do straight cuts and curve cuts. However, straight cuts are only 50% efficient. There's a lathe if we want to do turning, and there's also a milling machine if we want to do carving as well. So now we have the option to build additional rooms. This can be really handy when it comes to storage. What I like to do is build a second room. So this one's goods inwards and the other one's goods outwards. So we'll go ahead and we'll build ourselves a little room here. It's really difficult sometimes to tell exactly where these walls snap to each other. Now the reason that's saying invalid is because we haven't placed a door, so we're going to put the door right in there, and we'll also put a door on the outside to make it a little bit quicker to get stuff into the loading bay. And we'll go ahead and order that. We're starting to run low on funds. That is fine. These shovels can be delivered. I think we'll have plenty of time to get this stuff done. It's looking like it's going to be slow, but it'll be faster than it looks. We've got some more workers. Again, we don't have the tech yet, so we need to sort of level up. When we reach this one, with production 2, we can assign them specialist jobs. I also need a tech point to unlock storage management as well. That'll be quite important for us. So, unfortunately, these shovels are taking a long time, and that's mostly because we're having to wait on the stupid wood turning stuff going on. What's the mood like in this room? Actually, -29 because there's a lot of noise. There isn't really an awful lot we can do about that, apart from move stuff into a different room. We can try and put some more plants in here. Unfortunately, plants do take up a lot of space. Let's go ahead and put some cactuses in. Just try and keep people happy. We can always move stuff around and get rid of stuff later on. Can we cram anything else in there? I think we're about done. I'm not sure we can get another cactus in. Still -11. I'm just going to end up putting like random plants and stuff around everywhere. What is it up to now? Still -11. Oh. Let's order up and see what happens. I think it's because some of them are quite close to one another. They're not getting the... they take a bit of a penalty. Still, it's about as good as things are going to get. So the shovel client job is the one that needs to be done first. You can see the builders have arrived now. They've already put the room together. They're just laying the floor now. As you actually level up through the tech tree, as you level up through here, you actually get more builders that can put things together more quickly. So we've got people who are tired. One of the issues that you have is there's a cap on the number of people that can sort of rest up. So we want to go ahead and put another coffee machine in here as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Starting to run low on money, so we really need to start fulfilling some of these orders where we can. These small shelves, we've built 10 of them, but we can't actually ship any of them out. We've shipped out the 10 that we already had. So we've got 15 hours left to complete 4 more of these shovels for a client. That should be done easily enough. It's just on the assembly point. This is going to blow up if we're not careful. You have to constantly keep your eye on these workstations because everything always needs repairing. And you can actually give your haulers, you can actually give them specialization for repair work. Again, with the appropriate tech. So we can deliver that to the client. Excellent. Now we're working on the small shelves. So that's a little boost of income. Gives us a level up as well. So potentially we can pick a new tech. And just what I wanted, because I want to be able to go and grab that. Now, how do you open level 2 and level 3 and level 4? Well, that's quite simple. You do that by completing these milestones. So once we've delivered 100 products, once we've completed 3 client challenges and reached factory level 5, your factory level is basically this, your XP. So once we reach the next level and complete these, it will open the next tier of research. So that's how that works. So this guy's already done. We're working on the shelves. Everything. Oh, there we go. You see, I've pressed the middle mouse button to drag, and it's the right mouse button. So the reason I wanted the ability to do these zones is what I wanted is to make this a zone. And this zone is specifically going to be for our export zone. And this zone is going to be our workstation input zone. We can specify specific workstations. We'll just leave that as general. And we'll make... so this one should automatically be high priority here. So anything that's finished, anything that's completed should go into that zone there. So let's go ahead and speed things up again because I'm realising we're almost at the half an hour mark. It would be nice if we could get this client job done before anything else happens. We've got these warnings here that there's no storage space for various things. That's because I momentarily changed this away from being general storage to workstation input zones. We don't need to do that yet. That's more for bigger factories if you want to sort of separate things up. Someone's collapsed and they are lying flat out on the floor. So as you can see, this thing is so much faster at bending wood than this thing. I'm a little bit confused that there are still wood bending jobs going on here. I thought these had all been assigned to this machine because it's a lot faster. But we should definitely be prioritizing these small shelves. We're probably going to manage it actually. If we look at the details here. 10 hours and 13 minutes to do all of the putting stuff together, so we should be okay. So I just heard a ping. That was the market changing again, so that's probably another client challenge. In fact, there's 2 challenges now. Just slow things down a little bit. So we're already working on this one. Now this one requires, this is TomToms, and this requires a gluing station. I'm not going to take this one just yet. You can do gluing on a workbench, but again, it's only 25% efficiency. Using a dedicated, dedicated glue station is much better. But again, we'd need to start making some of the rooms bigger. It's never a good idea to have so much stuff in one crowded room like this because of the penalties that you get from the amount of noise in there. And that's the reason why our staff are always like constantly feeling drained. So we've got a few workers now that have got promotions. As soon as I have the ability to promote them, they'll be more efficient and they will work faster. So we're at the shelf assembly stage now. We've got 3 of 8 done. And we're grabbing the parts. There's 4 and 5. Yeah, everything's working nice and fast. This bending press is just amazing. I think this one only does wood. Yeah, bend wood. If we want the metal one, you have to specifically get a metal one. Some of the things will unlock automatically. You can't see them here because we haven't actually got a project that uses them. But if I wanted to, for example, make rubber ducks, then if I added the plan, you would then see the plastic making stuff would appear here in the build menu. So we can deliver those. They're done. Now, even if you don't manage to get all of them built within the time provided, you will still get paid for the ones that you've done, but of course you won't get as much money, you won't get as much XP, and you won't get as good a reputation with the person. So now we can go back to making our small shelves. And if we can have a look at this, we see the price of these is really, really tanking. So we do want to keep selling these off as quickly as possible. And, you know, our shovels are tanking in price as well. This thing is worthless. This thing is worthless. So you've got to go through and find things like, this has got a high price, but there's only 19 units wanted. Often the seats can require sewing stations as well. Hats are good if you just want to keep your sewing station busy, because it's 2 parts that are just sewn. So, again, we've got some problems here with build orders going on of our shelves. Not too sure why. Shelf support. Yeah, well, shelf support should certainly be done first. You can't put the shelves together until you have the shelf supports. Saying there's a problem. I think they're trying to put the shelves together and they don't have enough supports done yet. I think that's the issue here. Yeah, for some reason the shelves are first and they shouldn't be. Let's just unlink those from the board. Oh, I've unlinked the workstation from the board. Okay, so one of these workstations isn't linked. So let's go and take the shelf supports and move that to this workstation. And that should hopefully resolve that. Yeah, we've got a problem now. Everyone's just sitting idle because these workstations are a little bit balked. You've got one there. Send to the back of the queue. That should solve that problem now. There we go. And we will take these. You're doing 7. So we'll split that in half. We'll send half of it to the other workstation. And we will put the shelf assembly to the back of the queue. Right, that should now fix that. And then we can go back and relink that. Okay, that was a little bit of a pain, but at least it's fixed. So we've completed 3 client challenges. We still need to deliver 100 products. We still need to reach factory level 5. That is all doable. We need the assembly stations to come free so that we can put the shovels together. Of course, we could get another assembly station. But, yeah, I think that is fine as it is. Anyway, we're well over the 30-minute mark now. I'm getting really carried away with this. Like I said, I've been having so much fun with this game. It's one of those games that's just an absolute time sink. And I'm sure it's probably nowhere near as much fun to watch as it is to play. But the time just goes so quickly when you're micromanaging these little factories. And I've not got that far yet, but from some of the stuff that I've seen, you can build some really, really impressive workshops in this game. And I'm really excited to get to that point. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you are still enjoying Little Big Workshop. I'll see you on the next video. And until then, goodbye for now.